Welcome to Global India, a cultural fusion podcast. I'm your host, Dr. Lily Padman. We have as our guest an eminently qualified Indian American who will address today's topic, Diwali, from darkness to light in the new order. I'm delighted to introduce Anita Joglekar, CEO of Rainmakers Worldwide Inc, a company she founded to provide green technology solutions for the most urgent needs of the planet: energy, water, food, and waste disposal. These technologies provide 100% recovery, treatment and recycling of water, abundant renewable energy, high-yield organic cultivation of food, emissions-free conversion of all waste into green electricity, and plastics into green fuel to create sustainable and resilient infrastructure. They create solutions that are economically viable, environmentally sound, and fully sustainable. Anita has been a resident of West Lafayette for 35 years. She currently serves on various environmental committees in the city of West Lafayette. She also serves as the Environmental and Climate Justice Chair for the NAACP in Greater Lafayette. Thank you, Anita, for joining us on this podcast and sharing your incredibly wide-ranging expertise with us. Diwali, the Indian Festival of Lights, is being celebrated now by Indians in India and the Indian diaspora all over the world. As we all know, Diwali symbolizes the spiritual victory of light over darkness, good over evil, and knowledge over ignorance. Coincidentally, the outcome of the US presidential election, which just ended, also marks the beginning of a new era of hope and enlightenment. Can you give us your take on this historic moment and tell us where we are headed in terms of the COVID crisis, the economic crisis, and the climate crisis? Do you see a clear path forward? Let us get started with the COVID crisis.
Thank you so much for inviting me to participate in this discussion and wishing you and your audience a very happy Diwali. As you put it so well, Lily, our entire world right now seems to be caught up in the battle between light and dark, good and evil, knowledge and ignorance, life and death. As we all know, the COVID-19 global pandemic has literally brought the entire world to a standstill while we figure out how to resume some sort of normalcy again. In countries like the US, we are almost paralyzed as we watch the number of infections spiral out of control, and there has been no real measured response to try and control or end it. In spite of being advanced in medical science and scientific research, the US has not been able to control COVID-19 due to political impasse and reluctance to take any real scientific measures, such as wearing masks and observing social distancing measures, seriously. Fortunately for us and the world, there have been two new developments in the election of Joe Biden and Kamala Harris to head up as the new administration, and a lot of hopes are pinned on this because of Biden's insistence on prioritizing the control of the pandemic, and two, more importantly, Pfizer's announcement of a viable COVID-19 vaccine becoming available almost immediately. Light over darkness, good over evil, and knowledge over ignorance seems to be prevailing at last.
Thank you, Anita, for your reassuring tone with regard to the COVID crisis. I suppose we can see the light at the end of a long tunnel. Let us now move on to the economy, which has been crippled by the coronavirus. Do you see a road to economic recovery in the near future? And how do you think we can strike a balance between the public health concerns and economic consequences?
Yes, next to health, the second top worry on everyone's minds is the economy. in particular jobs, income, and the ability of people to survive economically. As you know, COVID 19 has taken a huge toll in so many ways, and the economy has taken a big blow as factories and production facilities have scaled back or closed down entirely. Travel has come to a grinding halt, and restaurants, cafes, movie theaters, and more have gone completely dark. This has left countless people without jobs or even a way to tide by till things open up. As Joe Biden said in his acceptance speech this week, controlling COVID 19 is going to be the first step towards economic recovery. This is based on hard facts because the US already tried to open up the economy. And while this provided some temporary relief for people who were able to go back to work, there has been a tremendous rebound in the number of COVID 19 cases and even deaths, even more so than during the supposed peak of the pandemic in March and April. This just goes to show that bringing COVID 19 under control has to be the very first step towards opening up the economy. The other problem we face is not knowing how long these restrictions will be needed till the vaccine becomes available for everyone in this country. I mention this country right now because that's only 350 million people in the US compared to 1.3 billion people in India. And I can't even imagine how long it'll take to vaccinate most of the people in India or the rest of the world. I think we can expect to see some sectors of the economy lag till the vaccines become widely available and effective, such as manufacturing, transportation, travel and tourism, hotels, entertainment, restaurants, and so many more. I see the control of COVID 19 as twofold: personal responsibility of every citizen of this world to ensure that they protect themselves and others by wearing masks and maintaining social distancing when in contact with other human beings in public places, regardless of whether they are outdoors or indoors. And two, of the world governments enforcing the mask and social distancing rules with fees, and also of maintaining strict control on the movement of people in public areas, and in providing COVID 19 tests, treatments, and adequate education about the pandemic through their hospitals and clinics. I also feel that the recovery of the economy along with the pandemic can start with embracing the need for addressing climate change and addressing those needs now by shifting our economy towards a greener, cleaner economy that will help lessen the impact of the climate crisis and make us more resilient in the face of global pandemics in the future.
Thank you, Anita, for your insights into how we can handle the economic crisis. Now let us move on to longer-term issues such as the climate crisis. What are the climatic challenges you see at this point, and how can we tackle these moving forward?
Climate change is the largest existential threat to our planet and to us. Thousands of species have already been wiped out because of our uncontrolled trashing of the planet. The pollution, contamination, and degradation of our ecosystems, our watershed, our air, our soil, our forests, and wildlife has resulted in an irreversible increase in global and ocean temperatures that is creating a feedback loop of more warming and more greenhouse effect till the planet and all of us are getting smothered. Polar ice caps are melting, sea ice is reducing, sea levels are rising, and we are scurrying around, trying to avoid unprecedented floods, droughts, hurricanes, famines, pandemics, infestation of pests, till we seem to be living in a nightmarish biblical prophecy of end times. Yet, we're the ones who have created and continue to create this doomsday scenario for us and our children. And even in the midst of this glaring crisis, there are those who will deny that it is happening and that it is happening because of our wanton behavior. The important thing is to not deny what is happening, but to hunker down and deal with it. And to deal with it, we must, both for our own survival, but also because we can. At the risk of stealing President Obama's call to political action in 2008, Yes We Can must become the clarion call for climate action. Fortunately for us, there are plenty of solutions available that, if implemented right away, can cut back those greenhouse gas emissions from our worst polluters like coal and fossil fuel power plants, transportation, and even agriculture. We can convert to renewable energy sourced from abundant sunshine, wind, geothermal, and even garbage. Yes, it is possible to convert all the millions of tons of waste in our world into green, emissions free electricity for the cities and countries that generate it. It is possible to clean up the contaminants dumped into our rivers and oceans that are both harming our aquatic life and also contributing to the acidification of the oceans. It is possible to grow many tons of food in sheltered indoor settings without pests and chemicals to become locally sustainable instead of relying on transportation of agricultural produce halfway across the country or even the world. It is possible to build a cleaner, greener city with completely green construction, roads, schools, airports, and docks. It is possible to use green transportation by turning to electric and green fuel powered transportation. If it is possible to build a colony on Mars, it is certainly possible to reinvent how we live here on Earth. A large part of my work in the company I founded, Rainmakers Worldwide, is doing exactly that. We are reinventing how to live a clean, green, sustainable life utilizing clean and blue technologies that will make a huge difference to the planet, the people, and to the economy all at once. I leave you with imagining a planet that looks and feels like the beautiful blue-green world it was at its creation, without thick black smoke and hazardous fumes choking our pristine skies, without garbage strewn all over its land, oceans, and rivers, and without chemicals and other contaminants spewing into our water bodies. Instead, let's imagine a blue-green planet powered by abundant sunshine, with pristine blue skies, crystal clear waters, and healthy people consuming healthy food and clean water. It is possible, and yes, we can. Thank you.
Wow. On that positive note, let us light up a diya of hope as symbolized by Diwali. Thank you very much, Anita, for offering viable solutions toward a bright future for humanity. I can see you and your team playing key roles in the Biden-Harris administration. A big thank you to our listeners as well. Happy Diwali to all of you. We conclude this episode with some inspiring music and a joke in a much lighter vein. Earlier, Anita alluded to the Pfizer vaccine that might become available soon. Pfizer did announce that their coronavirus vaccine was more than 90% effective in preventing COVID-19 infection. Pfizer's results were based on an interim efficacy analysis conducted by an external independent data monitoring board. This has been hailed as a much-needed breakthrough in the fight against the coronavirus. Shortly after the Pfizer announcement, I saw the following hilarious, although slightly off-color joke, I must admit, posted by my friend Roji Nambia in our Bangalore Global Desi WhatsApp group, and I could not resist sharing it with all of you. The company Pfizer, which today announced their vaccine against COVID-19 becoming available soon, is the same company that created Viagra. Therefore, we can fully rely on the Pfizer vaccine because if Pfizer was able to raise the dead, then they will much more easily be able to cure the living.
सुख शांति और प्रेम की स्वर्णिम दुनिया दिवाली आई, दिवाली आई। दीपिका छाई रोशनी लाई जिंदगी गाई खुशियां ही आई। होगा ये नया आसमान ये जमीन, हम तुम मिलकर लाएंगे वो दुनिया यही। हैप्पी दिवाली, हैप्पी दिवाली, मुझ तो बाद मिले रूबरू ईश्वर से, दिव्य गुण से सजाया हमें, जो मानव से देव बने, जीवन गुलजार बने। अब ना होगा कोई दुखी संसार में, खुशियां ही खुशियां छाएगी बहार में। हैप्पी दिवाली, दिवाली, हैप्पी दिवाली, हैप्पी दिवाली, हैप्पी दिवाली,
This is a free podcast. However, if you enjoy the podcast to the point where it puts you in a generous mood, you can unleash your generosity by donating to the Lions Club of Bangalore Whitefield. Please check out their website. Please write checks payable to Whitefield Lions Club Services Trust out of your Indian bank accounts and send them to Global India 7612 Fenwick Cove Lane, Orlando, Florida 32819. For more details, please visit our website www.globalindiapodcast.com. Please email your feedback and ideas for future episodes to globalindiapodcast@gmail.com. We would love to showcase your talents and accomplishments as well. All you have to do is to email us a note along with your biodata and a recording of your music. Alvida, adios, au revoir, and goodbye for now.